Alrighty guys, what is going on? Welcome to Busan, which is Overwatch's newest control map, or King of the Hill if you prefer to call it that. This is the spawn room on. I'm not 100% sure what actual map in particular of Busan we are on, but I do know something a little bit cheeky about this. This actually works. Like, you can actually play this. Hey, the thing lights up where you're standing. That's actually really cool. I don't think you can actually get any score on it though. Do I get score?
Nope.
No, I don't think I get score. That's actually sick though. This is really cool. So you might actually recognize some of this map from the D.va cinematic that they brought out, the animated short that features, of course, everyone's favorite small Korean gamer girl. That is, of course, D.va. So this actually looks fairly open on this particular bit, but a lot of these fights in this particular part of the map are going to be sort of close quarters by the looks of things. So if anyone's trying to flank around, it's looking to be sort of in close quarters areas apart from the sight lines you can get like onto the point over here. This seems to be... Where is the point? Point down there? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. There's a lot of different routes around the actual point by the looks of things. It seems to be pretty... Like you can sort of shoot down onto it from a variety of different angles and sort of get a little bit of decent fight going on. You're going to have a hard time probably trying to hold this, especially if you're looking at all these different high grounds. Maybe you could sort of shelter up here, turtle up a little bit in this sort of... These sort of corners here. But from up those high grounds, it's going to be pretty hard to hold, especially if you're shooting down, say, Soldier 76 and stuff like that up onto the dead people down below. It's going to be a little bit tricky to hold, I think. Is there a subway? No, you can't go down there. Okay, what else have we got back here? Yeah, I don't know what this is called. I imagine it to be like City Center or something like that, but it doesn't actually tell me when I join the game. And there are actually some nice little high ground sight lines that you can get onto. I suppose you could get up here if you were like a Widow or a Hanzo or something like that. You could climb up here, do things. You could also set up turrets here, maybe? If you got like an ice wall or something like that, you can have a decent coverage of the map with a turret. But other than that, this actually looks pretty nice. I can't talk about really this too much. It's only one part of a control point map, which aren't usually too large, and this one's no exception. It's sort of a little bit small and fairly interesting to look at. I like this one. Alright, I'll jump into another one and see how that goes. Okay, so this is the second map that you can look at in Busan. It is called Sanctuary, and there is a nice little koi fish artwork. This is sick. I love this. And apparently there are some drums and stuff like that. It's a bit of instrumentation and stuff here that lets you actually, like when you shoot them, it makes noise. Not those pots, though. I want to find some instruments to play. Alright, this seems interesting. I actually do think this is going to be fairly interesting. These sightlines seem fairly protected. Like, there's no real huge, long sightlines, apart from, say, like from here through there, maybe back through there. But other than that, everything seems, like, sightline protected by the looks of things. It seems very linear, in which that you're not just going to be able to sit at the back as like a Widow and just sort of plink away and do your best bits like you think you might be able to. Capture point is in the middle. That's actually fairly interesting. That's actually really small too. Wow, it's just this. Ooh. Ooh. That is actually really interesting. And yeah, the capture point is actually very small here. That's one of the more interesting things about this. The fact that how this is actually really small, and these aren't going to be able to be captured behind. You're going to have to stay here, turtle up behind this big tortoise, or that might be a turtle, might be a tortoise. Probably a tortoise. Hard to say. Big drums! Oh my god, the drums actually work. That's awesome. But there are some interesting sight lines onto the point by the looks of things, especially with these sort of little gaps in these little wooden bits. Is that the same on the other side? No. Is there one on this side, though? This is sort of one of the interesting things you got to find out about these maps. Is there going to be sight lines? There is going to be sight lines. That one was broken as well, but it's not broken anymore. So yeah, you're going to be able to get good sight lines back here if you break through a lot of the barriers that are here. Sort of have some Widow sight lines back here, stuff like that. You're going to get good angles and stuff. I imagine you're going to be able to set turrets up annoyingly in decent spots on this, especially like up in these high corners, like symmetric turrets and stuff like that, where they're going to be hard to spot, especially like up in these corners, stuff like that. And people shooting the drum till the end of time is going to be amazing, and that's going to be incredible. I'm sure that's never going to get annoying, but yeah, this is actually a really, really interesting one. This one's called Sanctuary. The last one we did was called Downtown, and it's actually very, very cool. Yeah, let's move on to Mecha Base. Alright, so this is the Mecha Base. Interesting little setup here where they're teaching the Korean boys and girls probably to fly their little mechs. That's actually really cool. You actually get to see a decent variety of the mechs here. You see this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. This is, of course, D.va's mech. That's actually very, very cool. Let's go have a look around. Alright, so you can see... Oh boy. Oh. Okay. So you can get out here, but you can't really, like, walk out there. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, nice couple of rooms here. I'm seeing some nukes, or some missiles and stuff like that, especially to go in the D.va suits, etc. The mechas, stuff like that. Looks like a lot of corridors. Gonna be able to speed boost through here pretty nicely. What about outside? Okay, so this is our control point. It's a big bowl. This seems very open compared to the rest of them. But from here, from this particular point, I'm not seeing an awful lot of sight lines you can rain down. Ooh. Ooh! Ooh, okay. I like that. So this is, of course, from the cinematic that you might notice the D.va cinematic as well. This is the big mecha base where they all send out their mechas to go and fight the world and save all the people and stuff like that. I don't really know much about the mecha lore, unfortunately. The D.va cinematic was like the first thing that I noticed about it. So does that sort of happen randomly when that alarm goes off? The shields just rise up? That's actually really interesting. A little bit of a dynamic part of this map. Does this launch me up? I bet that does launch me up. Maybe if the game was actually active, it'd launch me up. But or maybe it's just to get down. Well, look at all these mecha suits. That's sick. I want this one. I want to get in this guy. That looks dangerous. Big yellow one and a flyboy. Ooh. Let's go have a look what the upside of this little tower looks like. Oh, these stairs here. Wait, is there more stuff back here? Or is it just another way? Ooh. Yep, I'm going to get booped off here. This is going to happen at least once per game. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get booped off that. So this just leads directly from spawn underneath to the point by the looks of things. So yeah, that's going to be basically your default route in order to get to the point, I think. Yeah, so what are we looking at here? Is it just a way to get down? Might be by the looks of things. These seem to be all sort of suit up positions maybe, where everyone sort of gets their mech suit on by the looks of things. And I imagine it's very similar on the other side, maybe like different aesthetics slightly. But yeah, they're not going to be too different. Just a sort of another... Ooh, it's got the Heroes of the Storm game. Sort of a leisure room. That's a air hockey table back there maybe. It's a bit of music pumping. That's probably D.va's room there. By the looks of things, they're probably the only open one is D.va's room, definitely. Back here, yeah, this all looks fairly similar as you could kind of expect from a King of the Hill map. We go up here, there's a nice sight line down onto the point here. There are also traverses, so you're not going to have a fantastic time setting up here, especially since you can sort of be attacked from both sides. And yeah, interestingly enough, there is actually dynamic parts of this map, and that's actually very, very cool. One of the dynamic things we see on maps. Stuff like these things here. Stuff like the launch pads on Oasis, stuff like that. It seems the control maps sort of have the more dynamic features to them. But yeah, that is my first look at Busan. Hopefully it's one of your first looks too. If you haven't checked it out yet, I've sort of hopefully taught you a little bit about what's going on here. I'm not a great expert on the Busan lore and stuff like that, but yeah, this is what we're looking at right now. This is actually very, very cool. I do like this a lot. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this, make sure you do leave a like and do subscribe if you are new around here. I'd very much appreciate it, and it would very much help me out. This has been Luke from LessThanAverageGaming, and I hope you guys do have an above average day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye! Somebody